All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I probably get maybe about 50 to 100 communiques a week asking what are my political views concerning the presidential race and what's going on today. Now, while I can understand and see that it's getting harder and harder and harder to ignore the politics of everything that is going on in the world, because without it, you won't have a good understanding. Yet you do not have to be like politicians, meaning when their mouth is moving their line. But if I had to pick a choice, and I do have a choice, because that's the freedom that we all have here, allegedly here in this country, if the New York Times has not already elected or positioned whoever's going to be in place. But I would actually have to go with Ron Paul. And the reason why I would have to go with Ron Paul is because he's the only one that actually believes in liberties, the people's freedom and liberties. He's the only one that has a sound policy when it comes to the financial sector and what's going on in this world. But I do also understand this. If Ron Paul gets elected, and if he does make it to the presidential office, man, he's got a gauntlet to run through. And let me explain. Because the House and the Senate, all the people in Congress are bought and paid for by the corporations here in the United States as well as abroad. Our judicial system is run amok. There's no honor, no justice, no integrity whatsoever in it at all. This is not what you would call a nation of the people, for the people, and by the people. We have had men from outside sources and foreign countries and stuff to literally come in and just hijack, because the people here that's supposed to be our representatives or elected officials have all bought and sold themselves, or let me say opted in themselves to this wicked system. But for his running mate, I would probably have to say Jesse Ventura. And then from there, I would have to probably say Treasury Secretary, maybe Peter Schiff. When it comes to the Secretary of Defense, now that was a pretty easy one. It would either have to be myself or Pastor Joe Fox. As far as the press secretary, I would probably have to go with Ann Barnhart. And then the Secretary of State, his son, Senator Rand Paul. Now, that's a pretty sound cabinet just to get things started right there. And then when you get with the CIA director, the first thing I do is fire him and either put myself, vice versa, Pastor Fox or myself in that position, even though I know and understand with pastors. Now, the Bible, as far as speaking in the political side of it, Joseph and Daniel, just to name a few, had a lot of influence on kingdoms and stuff. But, if we're going to get back to a sound system, we're going to get back to a place where this country is of the people, for the people, and by the people, there has to be a total house cleaning. There has to be changes all across the board. Every congressman and every senator needs to be fired. I mean, literally put out of office. Everything that we call in this country, the judicial system, they all need to be fired. Every last one of them need to be put out. And we need to wipe this slate clean and start all over again, especially, hey, in order to even be on Ron Paul's cabinet, I would make it a prerequisite or a requirement that you have no previous political experience in Washington, or you never have been in Washington, and that you have never worked for Goldman Sachs or J.P. Morgan. That would be my own personal take. As far as financial advisors and stuff, I mean, you got plenty of people you could pick for that. I mean, plenty of people you could pick for that. People we're familiar with here. But, I understand we're dreaming. Believe me, I understand we're dreaming. But my hope is in the coming of the Messiah. You can believe that. And that's the truth. And that's the truth, straight way.